Live and in color.
What's up, bitches?
I'm gonna stop the recording.
Hey, and if you
when I went to go unmute this episode, yeah, if I would have stopped recording,
y'all just wouldn't have gotten shit.
This one never would have happened. So I'm praying now to the Appalachian Gods, to the sun and the moon, whatever I need to. Please don't break a bookcase. Don't curse this episode, because I feel like this episode is cursed. Because as you may remember, at the end, like last month, you got a filler episode. It was supposed to be this episode because my bookcase disintegrated before our very eyes.
We talked about it on the next episode.
And I deleted the episode. So I don't want this episode to be cursed. So I'm wearing my crown still. And I'm just going to get right into it. Deja vu.
This is going to be a short one.
Well, I did add a little bit to mine. Not a lot, but a little bit. So for decades now, there have been star-like lights that appear on Brown Mountain in Burke County, North Carolina. Oh, did we even say what we were doing? This is Appalachian
folklore and food.
Yeah. Some say these lights move slowly, but others say they move with quick firework-like movements. Folks who have claimed to witness these lights say that they look like glowing orbs and are usually red, blue, orange, or white. And these mysterious little lights have become known as the Brown Mountain Lights. It has been suggested that the first recorded sighting has been dated to 1771 when German engineer John William Gerard de Brom wrote about them in his diary. Others suggest that the first sighting wasn't until the early 1900s. That's a big gap. Either way, the lights caused such an uproar that at the turn of the 20th century, that the government had to get involved in the investigation of where the lights were coming from. The 1913 sighting was by a fisherman who claimed to see odd red lights dancing just above the horizon. More sightings followed, and word got around to the government, and the U.S. Geological Survey investigation found that the Brown Mountain Lights were nothing but distant train lights. A major flood occurred in 1916 and changed this theory as the waters washed out roads and bridges and took out power for several weeks, but the Brown Mountain Lights were still spotted. There was a re-investigation in 1922 that concluded that the lights were either the headlights of cars or trains or just brush fires. It has been argued that de Brom never even visited North Carolina and that there is no way he would have witnessed the lights, and that these tales are just made up to spin a tale that would discredit the government. Oh my heavens. Local Cherokee legend claims that there was a blood battle between the Catawba and Cherokee warriors on Brown Mountain. Mothers, widows, and sisters would set out into the mountains after the battle was over, carrying torches for their loved ones. It is said that these glowing lights are the spirits of the Cherokee women who are still searching. Current scientific research suggests that the lights are caused by natural gases on the mountain, or even ball lightning, which I saw a video of ball lightning for the first time, like yesterday.
Really?
Yes. And I was like, holy shit. That's also, cool. This look you've got going on, you remember earlier when I said Easton looks like you? It's this. I can't explain it, but it's the way that your little face is peeking out of the hole of your hood. Looks exactly like your child.
I can see it.
These sightings have been consistent and ongoing, and some folks claim to still see them today. If you want to see them for yourself, it has been found that the best time to try to see the Brown Mountain Lights is September through early November. Specifically on the Blue Ridge Parkway at the Brown Mountain Light Overlook at milepost 310, or the Green Mountain Overlook at milepost 301. I love the creativity in naming these mountains.
Right.
Brown, green. Anyway. Did you want to...
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
You read we're doing your whole thing.
Okay.
Remember?
The Moon-Eyed People. I feel like we did speak about this before when we've done an Appalachian episode because it felt familiar, and I definitely know that it's like...
Well, it was on my list of topics that I wanted to do an episode about because I had heard about it through another podcast that I used to listen to religiously that I haven't in a long time. I've not been listening to podcasts.
Me either.
I watch some, like I have my Shane Dawson podcast and The Sip that I watch religiously every week, and then their vlogs. Yeah, I will watch. But other than that, I don't be listening to no podcasts anymore just because I go through phases.
Yeah, like I'll always swing back around to it.
It might take 6 months,
and it might even like if there are like specific topics, like last podcast, if it's like their most recent episode is the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, so I'm down for that. I'm there. I'm listening to that tomorrow. Anyway. So much of the fuel for folklore in the Appalachian region originates from Cherokee legends. One such legend is that of the Moon-Eyed People. These beings are described in Cherokee folklore as being another race of humans who appeared different than the tribe. They were described as being small and bearded with incredibly white skin and big blue eyes. They were said to be a nocturnal race due to their eyes being sensitive to any light, and they were forced to hunt, fish, and accomplish all of their other tasks during the dead of night, which is why they were called the Moon-Eyed People. These sound like vampires.
Right.
They originally believed that the Moon-Eyed People built large stone fortifications against the Creek Nation, but after their defeat by another tribe, they retreated into the cave system of North Carolina and northern Georgia. They sound like European settlers, but Cherokee legend says that they were present among the tribes starting around 1170 CE. Hold on, I worded that strangely and I should have fixed that. Okay, so many people believe that this is a combined legend. So the Moon-Eyed People legend, and then there is it's merged with legends of the Welsh visiting or traveling to the New World before the Spanish did. But it is most likely that this was simply a propaganda tactic against the Spanish. The rumor of these like merged legends. There was a 3-foot-tall statue found at the confluence of the Hiwassee and Valley rivers in the 19th century that is thought to be a depiction of the Moon-Eyed People. And it is thought that the statue predates the Cherokee tribe and depicts conjoined figures. This is the best piece of visual evidence of the Moon-Eyed People and is on display at the Cherokee County Historical Museum in Murphy, North Carolina. Let me get a sip of water. I love ice cold water.
Not me. I'm a room temperature gal.
I can't do it. The Wampus Cat is the name given to a feline creature with 6 legs and glowing yellow eyes. This legend does involve the Cherokee, but it does not come from Cherokee folklore. A different source refers to it as the Cherokee Death Cat.
I just like the name Wampus Cat.
Yeah. It is thought that the name Wampus Cat derives from an old regional name for the eastern cougar, the catamount. This has also transformed into the word catawampus, which described any strange animal that roamed the foothills of Appalachia, or it's also probably spurned the term cattywampus, which I refer to, if something is like off kilter or like askew, it's cattywampus.
When we originally recorded this, I had used that term that day.
If like...
Remember?
Yeah.
Well, we were at that because I said a car had parked.
All cattywampus, yeah. Or like if something is like in a corner, it's cattywampus. Like if it's like, you know, it's cattywampus in the corner over there. It is this further evolved into the wampus cat, and there are different versions of its origins that are told throughout the region. The most well-known version tells of a beautiful Cherokee woman who was curious about the pre-hunting rituals of her husband and the other warriors of the tribe before they would go into the woods. In order to be more stealthy when trying to see the rites, she disguised herself with the skin of a cougar and hid behind a rock while the shaman performed the ceremony.
Can I break and tell you that, yes, I've heard all of this before, but at that point you said skin of a cougar, and all I could think of
is the
skin of a killer Bella.
Load.
It's getting late. Can you guys tell?
Yeah, I know. I'm
getting goofy.
She was ultimately discovered, and the shaman was said to have cursed her by changing her into a human-cougar hybrid, and she became known as the Wampus Cat. It is said that she roams Appalachia alone and wreaks havoc against other animals and frightens humans wherever she goes. The term Wampus Cat was also used in the 1960s when the Goldsboro Argus newspaper used it to describe an ape-like creature that was spotted in the hills. This story garnered much attention, and people began to descend upon the woods of North Carolina seeking the creature out. But in the end, the sheriff called off the search and declared the creature a hoax. Today, the tale of the Wampus Cat is used to frighten children to warn them about the dangers of wandering around the woods alone, because she is said to still be angrily moving about the region, searching for revenge any way she can get it.
Did you hear him? It sounded grumpy. He sounds like...
That was Little Cat.
Oh, that was like...
Little Cat.
It sounds like the village people in the Minecraft movie. Wow.
All right. Spearfinger is another Cherokee legend that is said to be a stone-skinned, shape-shifting witch with a long knife in the place of one of her fingers. And I think we talked about there was a Supernatural episode that has like a creature like this.
I think that was the
pudding episode.
The Wraith? Is that what it was?
I think so.
Pudding!
She is often described as being an old woman and would take on this form in order to convince Cherokee children that she was their grandmother. She would sit with them, brush their hair until they fell asleep, and then would use her spear finger to kill them. The legend goes that she liked to eat human livers and would extract them from the bodies of her victims. She would leave no visible scars or other marks on her prey. It was said that she would carry her own heart in her hand to protect it, as it was her one weakness. She was said to be captured and defeated with the help of several birds that carried the information to defeat her. Although she was ultimately destroyed, it is said that you can sometimes still hear her cackles and songs throughout the mountains. That'd be creepy.
Yeah. Again, if you hear things, no, you didn't.
Yeah. And then this is where I added in a couple of stories. Okay. So I decided to add a little bit to this episode and hope that the Appalachian Gods don't disintegrate another one of my bookcases. In Clemson, South Carolina, at the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountains, people say that Old Stone Church is home to a haunted grave site that no plant life will grow on. It also appears that this grave attracts lightning. This also sounded familiar. We may have touched on this in the past. But legend says that the woman buried in this grave...
South Carolina yet.
Huh?
We haven't made it to South Carolina.
Well, no, but I think like in terms of like the Appalachian aspect. But legend says that the woman buried in this grave was from the low country of South Carolina, and her name was Eliza Huger. Lightning has struck this grave many times, and the walls around her grave have had to be rebuilt over and over again. Locals say that if you toss a coin on her grave, if the tossing of a coin on her grave will gain you good luck, but to take a coin is a fool's errand that one might regret later. Eliza Huger is known as the Queen Witch of Clemson, and though little is actually known about her life and death, the legends surrounding her have made her quite infamous. Some of the stories say that Eliza was born to a wealthy family in Charleston, South Carolina, and found her way to New Orleans, where she was said to have been a bit of a wild child. Some versions say that 2 of her brothers went there to bring her back home, but found her working in a brothel with a client. It is said that they shot and killed her and brought her body back home.
Listen.
Allegedly, due to these unseemly circumstances, Eliza was not welcomed back to her home and was buried upstate, and the brick walls were supposedly built around her grave to contain her sinful spirit. I don't like that. It seems...
Yeah.
I don't like that. I think this is the last one. In the high country of North Carolina, there sits Grandfather Mountain. This area's geography has some of the most awe-inspiring views in the Appalachian Mountains. Viewed as the patriarch above the land, Grandfather Mountain has inspired travelers for a long, long time. Adventurers come from all over to ascend its peaks, take in the splendor of the area, and to enjoy just enjoy the beauty. Grandfather Mountain is said to be so alluring that some hikers never want to leave. The phantom here is said to be an older, rugged man with a beard who is dressed in working man's attire that's not of modern times. He is said to appear to be from the mid-1900s or so, which that mid-1900s sent me into a tailspin when I read that, because that was like the 1950s.
Right.
He has a walking stick, a canvas pack, and some say that he is usually just minding his own business and hiking the trails. Some people don't even realize he's a spirit until he vanishes into thin air just ahead of them. Many accounts say that the phantom hikes us quickly along the trail, passing by many other hikers without even acknowledging them, and then, just like that, he's gone. He is typically spotted around dusk. Many believe that he was a hiker who got lost in the woods and died, but others believe he is the spirit of a man who just really loved the Grandfather Mountains and chose to stay here after he died. He doesn't seem to want to do anyone harm. He just hikes along the trail of this place like everyone else does.
That's cute, though.
That is cute. Somebody's grandpa really, really liked hiking.
Oh, Grandpa.
Is somebody at the door?
I don't think so. Like
human? A cat. No, a cat.
All right. Now, and I wrote this to sound kind of Appalachian sounding.
Yeah, I forgot you did that.
So, let's start at the beginning. Where is it that we're talking about? The Appalachian region is set out by the Appalachian Regional Commission. Stretches.
You should have gone first.
Well, whatever. Stretches a mighty long way, more than 1,000 miles. It takes in all. I do this because it's important to the different foods.
Yeah.
The regional aspect of it. It takes in all of West Virginia and bits of 12 more states: Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, Maryland, Mississippi, and New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. All told, I lost my spot. It's home to more than 25 million people living across hills, hollers, and valleys. With that big old swath of land and all kinds of people calling it home, you better believe that the food traditions are just as wide and varied. Now, ask anybody from the hills what Appalachian food is, and you might get a different answer each time. That's because, even though we all share these mountains, different parts of the region have their own ways, histories, and climates. Still, there's something that ties all of it together, and it's making do with what we got and making it last. Back in the old days, and truth be told, not all that long ago, living in the mountains meant you had to rely on what was right there around you. Folks had to raise chicken, fatten hogs, grow potatoes and beans, and hang apples to dry. If you had a stream running by, that was your fridge. You cured meat in a smokehouse, and the pantry was full of canned green beans and chow from the garden. Food had to stick to your ribs, too. Whether you were up with the sun, working a cornfield, or heading down into the coal mines, you needed a meal that'd carry you through the day. That's why Appalachian food's so hearty. Cornbread with bacon grease, biscuits smothered in sausage gravy, stews with rabbit or squirrel, chicken and dumplings, and desserts made from apples that you grew yourself. This mountain food, it's not just something that was made up out of nowhere. It comes from a mix of cultures: Native American, African American, German, Italian, and more. You can thank the Cherokees for soup beans and cornbread, one of the region's most iconic meals. One of my favorites of all times. They taught the world about the three sisters, which is corn, beans, and squash, and how they grow together just right. Corn gives the beans a place to climb, beans feed the soil, and the squash keeps the ground moist and shaded. It's nature working in harmony. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
Ramps, which are wild mountain leeks, are another treasure from the Cherokee Way. Folks say that ramps will get your blood moving again after a long winter. They got a bite to them, but they're celebrated all over the mountains come spring. There's whole festivals thrown in their honor, and these days, even fancy chefs in big cities pay top dollar to get their hands on them. Now, folks will lump Appalachian food in with Southern cuisine, and sure, there is some overlap, but don't go thinking that they're all the same. For one, sugar cane don't grow well up in the mountains. So the Appalachian people lean more on sorghum, honey, and maple syrup for sweetening things. And where the coastal South's got shrimp and grits, up here, all we're eating is trout from cold mountain streams or wild game like squirrel and possum. The backbone of Appalachian cooking is what the land gives you. Things like pawpaws, squirrel, morels, is that how you say it? Morels?
Yeah.
Some call them dry land fish. Black walnuts, corn, beans, and wild greens. Corn, especially, is everywhere and used for everything. On the cob, creamed, and grits, cornbread, hominy, and even moonshine. And we've talked about significance in moonshine in Appalachian history before.
Yeah.
Apples, too. They're dried, fried, baked, sauced, and cidered. Pork's a big deal up here. We mainly eat what we raise. And like my source mentioned, a lady, Elaine Irwin Meyer of the Museum of Appalachia. Most folks had hogs, so pork was plentiful. We'd can our sausage, hang hams in the smokehouse, and season vegetables with the fat. And they say that the only part of the hog that we didn't use was the squeal, is what she said. Folks remember the recipes that they grew up with. Pinto beans boiled with streaked meat, garlic, and jalapenos. Collard greens with bacon, red pepper flakes, vinegar, and sugar. Buttermilk cornbread with pork skins for flavor. I don't like that idea.
Yeah.
And then when it came to something sweet or hearty, you slathered cornbread or biscuits with butter, molasses, or honey. The climate in these mountains makes farming kind of a challenge. Winters are long and tough, so preserving food was key. Canning, smoking, drying, and salting everything that we could. Pickled veggies, dried fruits, and cured meats weren't just for survival, they taste pretty good too. The Urban Appalachian Community Coalition talks about how these foodways are what kept the culture alive. It's not just about what's on the plate, it's about what you had to do to get it there. Foraging was, and still is, a way of life. Mushrooms, greens, berries, nuts. Folks knew what plants to pick and when to pick them and how to use them for food or medicine. A whole mess of know-how came from the Native American people. Take saccharin, for example, a leafy green plant used for medicine and still foraged today. Rebecca Beyer, who calls herself an Appalachian witch forager, teaches about these plants and their history. It's knowledge passed down from the Cherokee and kept alive in the hills today. Mushrooms are another gift from the woods. Scientists say that there might be up to 20,000 species of mushrooms in Appalachia alone, though only a couple thousand have been officially named. Morels, chicken of the woods, chanterelles, and they grow all over and are still foraged and cooked by folks today. Come pawpaw season, you can find them in the woods if you know what you're looking for. These are custard-textured fruits that don't last long once they're ripe, but when you catch them at just the right time, they're downright delicious. Albany, Ohio even throws a pawpaw festival every year celebrating every kind of pawpaw recipe you can dream up. Some better than others, but it's all good in good fun. Family and neighbors used to work together on farms, snapping beans. Have you ever snapped beans? Did we talk about this before?
Yeah.
My fingers hurt just thinking about it. Canning tomatoes or butchering hogs come fall. Women and children helped gather what the garden gave, and folks pitched in for one another when times got hard. There's nothing fancy about it. It was about love, survival, and the bonds between kinfolk. The Museum of Appalachia in Clinton, Tennessee shows what life used to be like. They got old-time buildings, tools, and even a restaurant that cooks the way Granny used to. That's one way we're trying to hold on to our roots. Most meals came straight from the garden and the barn. Venison, rabbit, squirrel, hog are all common meats. Fresh produce was canned or dried for the winter. You'd find black walnuts and cakes and cornbread baked in cast iron. Recipes weren't written down, just passed along by word of mouth, often from granny to mama to daughter. As folks moved away from the mountains, they mixed in other traditions, and some of the old ways started to fade. But don't think that Appalachian culture is just white coal miners. Elizabeth Catt, author of What You're Getting Wrong About Appalachia, says the true picture includes women and people of color. Black folks, Native American people, and poor white immigrants all shaped the region's foodways, bringing their knowledge and tastes, or bringing their own knowledge and tastes. Geology even played a part. Some of the oldest rocks in the country are found here, meaning the soil's special, the water's pure, and the plants are one of a kind. The fish, too, trout and clear, cold creeks, are not found many other places. Appalachian food can be broken down into a few big groups: meat, plants, and fungi. Culinary historian Adrian Miller says pork was the main meat, but folks also hunted squirrel and possum. They'd make a hunter stew with whatever they caught and whatever veggies they had on hand. Brunswick stew, now made with chicken, originally used squirrel meat. Some traditions have slipped away over time. You're not likely to see squirrel stew on a restaurant menu these days. Still, the roots run deep. Barbara Swell from Log Cabin Cooking School teaches how to cook the old way, and she talks about trout fishing, even beaver tail, smoked and cured. Miller says folks made poke salad from the pokeweed plant, which can be poisonous if you don't cook it just right.
My granny loved poke salad.
I've never had it. That knowledge
it's bitter.
That knowledge came from the native tribes and enslaved people who taught how to boil the danger right out of it. Chef Clark Barlow even made a pokeberry ice cream, believe it or not. Another favorite is branch lettuce, a wild green that pops up early in the spring and helps families bridge the hungry gap between winter's end and the first real harvest. Swell remembers a friend who longed for a mess of branch lettuce every spring, waxing poetic about how fresh and clean it tasted. And morels, those prize mushrooms with their honeycomb caps, grow all over the hills. Easy to spot, hard to beat, and a real delicacy in the springtime. They helped folks eat good before the summer's bounty came in. So, what is Appalachian food culture? It's a tale told by cast iron and cornmeal, by smokehouses and canning jars. It's pork fat and pawpaws, ramps and rabbit, greens from the branch, and mushrooms from the holler. It's a story of making do, sharing what little you got, and passing down the know-how to the next generation. And I've included a couple, like, little recipes type, things that people make that are kind of common.
Yeah.
Pepperoni rolls. It's a favorite in West Virginia or in the West Virginia region. It's not often found outside of that area. It's a soft bread or roll stuffed with pepperoni sticks or slices. It's a favorite of coal miners as they needed a quick shelf-stable snack while they were in the deep in the mines. They can be filled with cheese or sauce to make it more filling. Beans and cornbread, one of my all-time favorites, made with soup beans, or we like to call them pinto beans.
Yeah.
Cooked on the stovetop. It's a wonderful way to warm up in the winter to make them top-notch. Add some ham, seasoning of choice, traditionally salt and pepper, diced white onions, and cornbread.
White beans are also good.
Oh, yeah.
Alternative to pinto.
I've seen people add fried potatoes or homemade chow chow or slaw.
Fried potatoes.
Oh, some fried potatoes with onions. It's one of my all-time favorites.
I love it.
Buckwheat cakes.
Can't make it for shit though.
Right.
I don't know.
I can't ever fry my potatoes. I cannot
fry a potato. A lot of it stems from I want to stir them.
Yes.
And
I'm very impatient.
The whole like the ideal way is to stir them once.
Yeah.
And then
you flip them.
Yeah.
And then that's
it.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
I'm too impatient. Buckwheat cakes, a fall favorite. These are pancakes made with buckwheat flour that gives them kind of a sour or yeasty flavor. They can be served with bacon or sausage patties and topped with some local maple syrup. Buckwheat is a very hardy crop that can make it through cold snaps in late spring. That doesn't sound good to me. Pawpaws. It's Appalachia's tropical fruit. The pawpaw has a banana and mango flavor and can be found in a number of dishes when it's in season. Things like pawpaw beer, pawpaw ice cream, and pawpaw butter. It's a greenish brown fruit, and it's 3 to 6 inches long with a yellow custard dotted and thick black seeds. Never seen it. Morels. The elusive morel mushroom is a springtime favorite. It adds a bit of an umami flavor to any dish. Chefs often saute them in butter, season with pepper and salt, and add them to meat and poultry dishes. They're often a pasta filling or added to a silky soup. They're also called molly moochers. They can be paired with other mushrooms like shiitakes or portobellos to enhance their flavor. Ramps, it's a garlicky onion. It's an in-demand wild plant that chefs across Appalachia clamor for in the spring. They can be used in purees and sauces. They're also celebrated in festivals. And roadside stands sell them by the mess. This one threw me a little bit. I wasn't prepared for it. West Virginia hot dogs. They have chili, because, everywhere has, like, their own...
Oh, like a Chicago dog.
Yeah.
Or,
So it has chili, slaw, mustard, onions.
That sounds okay.
I'm not a chili dog fan.
I'm not a slaw fan.
I do love some slaw.
But...
On a hot dog, though, I'm just not a big hot dog fan.
I mean, they're not good for you.
No. But I just, I used to eat them all the time.
Yeah.
But, I'll eat it out of necessity at this point.
I'm also...
but I'd also almost rather starve.
Don't come at me with a boiled hot dog.
That is the only way Gemma will eat them.
That's disgusting. I
want them grilled and I want them black.
Yeah. Which also we learned a fact in weight loss class this past week. That, charring your food on a grill is causing... cancer.
I started saying probably cancer.
Yeah. And it's it kind of...
It stresses me out too, because I love that, it's
not like I'm eating it every day, so I'm not as concerned about it. I don't eat off of a grill every day.
Listen.
But be careful when you're charring your food.
Don't come at me, but I like my steaks a little bit more on the well done side.
Mm-hmm.
I want to taste the char on the outside of it.
See,
that fat
Yeah.
On the edge.
That is specifically what is like, yeah. That's what research is showing. Like. It's specifically that fat on steaks.
Well, it's going to happen somehow. I
was shocked.
Wow.
I was like, I don't eat steaks anyway, so it really doesn't. I'm literally
having steaks for dinner tomorrow night.
But you can think about that while you're eating it.
Fantastic. Anyway, so those 4 ingredients make up the perfect West Virginia hot dog. Slathered on a wiener with a steamed bun, the combination makes for hot dog nirvana. These hot dogs have slight variations depending on the region of the state, but there's no argument that they're delicious wherever they are. Maple syrup is used in everything from glazed greens and pancakes to poultry and pork in Appalachia. Tapped from sugar maple trees, the syrup production has been increasing across Appalachia in recent years, and subsequently, maple syrup has been showing up in more dishes all over the region, which I have noticed over the past several years. Like, It's crazy, though, because I'll try it on different stuff.
Yeah.
And it's crazy what it'll actually go with. Like, I can do maple syrup and chicken tenders. I can do it.
That's really fine.
It's really good.
Honey also is good. But like I like dipping like breakfast sausage in it.
Yep. My kids put it all over their eggs.
Bacon.
Yep.
Dipped in maple syrup.
Scrambled eggs. The kids do it all over their scrambled eggs.
Jordan, our Canadian friend, brought real Canadian maple syrup to the retreat. And I just really hope that the fire hall enjoyed it, because we had a lot of food left over that we donated to the local fire station, and they were really appreciative. I was like, the men are going to eat for a week. They had a puppy Dalmatian.
Aww.
It was very cute. I was like, I would love to pet you, but I like my eyes in the condition they are. But you're very cute.
Venison or deer, as well as other wild game, is commonly seen on menus in the mountain south. Wild game is often highlighted with foraged fruits and berries to accent its mild flavor. And the last one that I have is apple stack cake. This traditional mountain dessert is rooted in resourcefulness. This sounds fantastic. I would like to try it. It's many thin layers of sorghum sweetened cake, and they're stacked with a dried apple filling. It could be made at any time of year since the ingredients aren't dependent on fresh apples if you're going to dry them.
Yeah.
They are stacked and filled, and after 2 days, the moisture from the cake loosens up the dried apples and creates a moist and tasty treat. It sounds real good. But I do be really liking apples. So, like cinnamon apples, like stuff like that.
Yeah. I do. I can get behind an apple. My favorite type of apple is Granny Smith, though.
I'm not picky.
And I'm not a sour person, but I like a Granny Smith.
I think if I had to pick one, it would be like a Honey Crisp.
I read Delicious, too.
Well, for like reasons of mixing with the cinnamon and butter type thing, a Honey Crisp does it for me.
That would be, I could get
it. But I'm not picky.
Like, you wouldn't want, like, a Granny Smith for that.
Oh, I could.
But a Granny Smith is, like, ideal for baking. That's what I've heard, anyway. I don't bake.
See, baking's what I love.
I heard that once and ran with it. Do you have anything else?
Nope, that was it.
All right. Well, visit Sage, our nonprofit of the month. They stand with the LGBTQ plus seniors across the country who have been fighting for decades for the right to live with dignity and respect. They have a nationwide network of affiliates that advocate for LGBTQ plus older people at the federal, state, and local levels. They mobilize LGBTQ plus people and allies when rights are at stake, educate policymakers about LGBTQ plus aging issues, release original policy briefs, publications, and infographics. They lead coalitions, and they march and rally with LGBTQ plus older people and allies. So if you feel like you want to donate to that organization, please do so. The link will be provided in the episode notes as per usual.
And you can find those episode notes in places like Facebook,
Instagram,
TikTok, maybe
YouTube, for sure. And
if you have any ideas that you would like to share, or any
suggestions, criticisms.
Not criticisms. I'm not here for it right now. Usually it's the other way around. Usually I'm like, bring it. Brittany's like, no. But this time, I don't want it. Keep that shit to yourself.
Keep your negative energy,
Karen,
away from us.
And he, who I'm not sure wants to be named, I don't remember if he's cool with us name dropping, but moist. All
right, bye.
Okay, bye.